So one of the ways that we can think about yield, and the easiest way I try to explain it to people, is bang for buck. And well, this thing was like $12. So super high yield, and it's honestly been a game changer for me. Such a small change, such a small price, but a huge impact on, honestly, my whole life. Let me explain. So one of the highest yield things you can do to level up your energy and your life in general is going to be focusing on sleep. And that's one of the things that I start with when I'm working with people. We look at what your sleep looks like. If you want to dive deeper into sleep, check down below. But there's two things that are super important here. Regarding your circadian rhythm, you want to keep it consistent. And then you want to actually also focus on the quality of your sleep and not necessarily the quantity. This thing is super simple, but it tackles both. So first of all, you want to look at the consistency. You want to be waking up at the same time. And this is where simple is actually better. Our phones take care of so many different things. They really are an all-in-one device these days, and that's not actually a good thing. How many times have you seen, and maybe you're the kind of person that has 1,700 alarms every 2 minutes on your phone? That's actually way worse. You don't want to be snoozing. That's ruining your wake up time of the quality. You're going to be way more groggy if you do that. And you don't want to even have multiple alarms. You don't want to have that many options, because if you're waking up at different times, it's going to mess up your circadian rhythm. This is where something like this little alarm clock, there's no options. You set an alarm and then that's it. It does have a weekend mode, so you can turn it off on the weekends and it'll only be active during the weekdays. But other than that, and I don't recommend you use that, by the way, if you are getting enough sleep, you really want to keep it consistent. And this makes it super easy. You can only have set one alarm time, and then that's it. No advanced snoozing, no multiple alarms, no alarm every 2 minutes. Really, really easy. And that is really important for tackling the first part that you want to focus on. So if you are low on energy, focus on getting consistent with when you go to bed and when you wake up. This is where an alarm is super important, and something more simple like this little device is actually going to be better for you because, like I said, you got no options. Making sure that you're going to bed at the same time is going to be the other part that's important. Of course, you don't have an alarm for when to trigger going to bed. You just got to be consistent with it, because your morning is going to wake you up at the same time every day, and you do want to be making sure that you're consistent on both ends. With that said, this is going to help with that too, and going even further into the sleep quality. You see, it's not really about how long you sleep. You can't just brute force it and then get 9, 10 hours. Trust me, I've tried. It's not actually going to be better for you, and you're going to feel like at a loss because you're wasting another hour of your day sleeping, and you're not even waking up feeling more energized than if you had higher quality with less time. Super high yield approach. Less input, more output. That's what we're all about. And so quality comes into play, and a simple device like this, I brought up the phone, it tackles on both ends all of the destructive things that the phone will do to you around your sleep schedule, and it's honestly been a game changer for me. So first of all, right, you don't need to deal with your phone for setting alarms. You want to take it that step further, and you don't need the phone anymore, so take it out of your room. I no longer keep my phone when I go to bed charging by my bedside, which I'm sure almost all of us do. Get rid of it, charge it somewhere else, get it outside your bedroom. This is going to do a couple things. One, it's going to stop you from scrolling before you go to bed, and you're not going to have it available to you first thing when you wake up. Even if it is the first thing that you do, if you have it outside of your room, you're going to have to get out of bed, hit the alarm, and then go get your phone. And by the time that you've done that, you're most likely not going to then go back into bed and start scrolling. You're already going to be up and start your day. If you have the habit as well of getting up and like brushing your teeth, splashing your face, maybe taking a shower or something like that, and you loop that in and start that right away after you get up, it's really going to push out the first time that you're taking and looking at your phone. That's going to be super beneficial to you with how you're starting your energy in the morning. But I think it's actually more impactful for at night. So many of us are used to scrolling a little bit on our phones, maybe a lot, before you go to bed, looking at memes, all this kind of stuff. And that does two things that are terrible for you. One is just the pure blue light from your phone. Now, there are ways to mitigate this with different filters on your screen and stuff like that, but the screen light alone, regardless of what you're actually looking at on it, is going to be really bad and mess with your circadian rhythm, because the light signals are telling your brain not to produce the melatonin that you need to then go into your sleep cycle. So the screen alone is bad, so you want to get rid of that. But even with the filters, you are likely looking at memes that are giving you dopamine, that are hyping you up or something like that. The content that you're looking at is not going to be relaxing and not conducive of getting you into that mindset where you're ready to go to sleep. By leaving the phone outside of the room, I don't have the option to scroll right before I go to bed, which is what I used to do. And this has been a huge game changer, honestly. It's crazy to me to think that something so simple, like just swapping to a basic old school alarm clock, has had such an impact on my habits and then my energy throughout the day with my sleep schedule. These are the kind of things that really go a long way. Small changes that are really focused can give you those baby steps, those quick wins that then compound into longer term habits, routines, and overall boosting your energy to the point where you can't even imagine going back to how it used to be. A small change, a small purchase of like $12, right? Alarm clock leads to the next step of, okay, now I don't need my phone by my bedside. You put it out. Then you're not scrolling on your phone in the morning or at night before you go to bed. That's giving you even more higher quality sleep. That's giving you more energy. Now you're waking up with extra time, you're feeling more energized, you're starting your morning routine, and you start doing that for a couple days, couple weeks, couple months, it really starts to compound and add up. And it all really started with this small tweak. And that is the high yield lifestyle. If you want to dive deeper into sleep, check the links down below, and I'll have some ways to help you out.